We know the red pill's the awakening. It's the truth, right? Is what you see. Mr. Double G's, what up, bro? Is what you see. Is what you recognize, is what you see the women for who they are when it comes to dating, right? And I realized that. Now, did I have people around me that influenced me to think otherwise about women? Yes. You got older brothers and cousins, they'll do anything for women. They act like they're players when they're not. So I had that around me. I thought I was seeing people doing their thing. Nah. They was getting used by women instead of them controlling the situation. So a call to men. Fellas! If you don't know who I am, I'm a guy that picked up travel years ago. Went out and gained lots of experience through interactions with people. My name is Jonas. I tell fellas to travel. I tell women to do their thing also, but I'm more for the brothers, the men, the fellas, whatever you want to call us as a whole. I'm for those guys that got their passports and want to go and want to reconfigure their thinking. That's what I am. So I wrote a couple books on, you could go on Amazon and see them, and many places like that. But with that being said, let's talk about it. We know the red pill's the awakening. It's the truth, right? Is what you see. Mr. Double G's, what up, bro? Is what you see. Is what you recognize, is what you see the women for who they are when it comes to dating, right? And I realized that. Now, did I have people around me that influenced me to think otherwise about women? Yes. You got older brothers and cousins, they'll do anything for women. They act like they're players when they're not. So I had that around me. I thought I was seeing people doing their thing. Nah. They was getting used by women instead of them controlling the situation. So, but it was perceived as playerism. So you grow up with a lot of that. A lot of men not understanding women because they were told, baby, I love you, and beg and all of that type of stuff. So that's something that you become accustomed to. Now, if that's not you, nobody that's 21 or 20 should be really raging like the guys in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s, and so on. That's just how I feel. Because you don't have enough experiences in life to be raging to that point. Nah, there might be another underlying reason to why that's happening. Now, am I an expert? No, I'm not gonna claim to be. I'm just telling you what happened for me. So when I came that women do crap in the toilet, women do stink when they fart, women have anger issues. Women are just as violent as men, according to the CDC. And I knew that to be fact without looking at the CDC. And there could be a number of ways where they could be just as violent as men, right? And so how I dealt with my red pill rage before, and then there's some passport rage, and we'll get into that. But how I dealt with mine was, at first, when you come to the realization that women are just as terrible or even worse in some aspects, depending on the situation, it really does something to you. Because you're taught with these mental chains that women can do no wrong. You heard me mention mental chains before. They put these shackles on you that women are perfect when you're growing up. Women can do no wrong. Women are harmless and all of those type of stuff. So all your life, you let a lot of stuff that women do go, and it creates thousands of mental chains being held by heavy weights that you drag around for a lifetime. You heard me explain that on other incidences. And it's the same thing with red pill and how it gets built up. So then when you come to the realization that they're not perfect, not all of this comes into your mind, all of the shackles, all what you've been told, and it builds anger. It builds some type of resentment. It builds, it's a pot that has boiled over, right? So you start like, yo, so nothing they can do right. Anybody around you, you catch everything that they're doing. You're looking at them. You can't sleep at night sometimes because you're dreaming about all of the terrible stuff that happened to you after you come to that realization. You look at your sisters different, your aunts, your nieces. You're looking at everybody from a different vantage point. And you like, yo, this is crazy. It starts protruding your life. You're not as calm as you once were. You see little changes in your diet, the way you eat, the way you exercise. All of that has changed when you come to this realization. Now, it could be more extreme, more so than others, and others can be lessened on this reaction. But for the most part, it happens. Let me give you the rundown. So, for many of us, we go into that. Oh man, it's like it's no turning back, right? It's no turning back from that point. And for some of us, you don't know how to get out. And let me tell you how I got out, right? I got out by slowly breathing, right? I took deep breaths when I'm in that rage, and I started working on my breathing, right? I started working on being more relaxed. I started thinking about what's important to me at those times that I did build up that frustration, because a little argument with a woman can turn into a full-on, I'm talking about, event. So I learned to take breaths and just sit back and go through an imaginary stage, right? When I was red pill raging, right? And then I discovered travel. And then so now when I discovered travel, I wasn't finished going through that stage fully with the red pill, right? And so now I'm passport raging. So they sort of intertwined together. The red pill rage went into the passport rage, because now I start looking up what everybody talking about these passports, and I start getting, I'm gonna get mine, and it started being a transfer. And then I started all over again, and I had to realize that once I got my passport, I was like, the red pill rage, I'm subduing it by, and let me tell you what I started doing fully in the red pill rage before I fully transferred over into the passport rage, right? I started breathing, imaginary stage. Love my moms, love my pops. Who did I love, right? Who didn't lie to me? That's what I started thinking. And that's what I had to do as a solution. Now, I'm giving you the solutions to red pill rage that work for me. You can take it if you want to. You can leave. You can leave this stream. You can never listen to me again. Cool. But if it's going to work for you, and these solutions will help another brother, pass this on, right? Because y'all know I'm one of the most toughest guys you can meet. But I'm gonna tell you, even I was broken down by the red pill and the passport rage. So I started breathing. I started taking deep breaths, and I started imagining who's important to me, who didn't lie to me, right? And that worked for me. I was like, okay, well, he lied, he was all over women, but let me go through, and it started replaying all of the men that were dating women who were acting like players back then, who were, I started going through my mind, and I started seeing it like a movie in reverse of all what they were doing. I'm like, oh, he was a simp. Oh, he was letting women run over, and I start going through who told the truth. And then I would narrow it down to the people that really told the truth when I was going through this stage of learning women and understanding how they operate and different things like that, even when I was a child. I told you, I started getting on the red pill early, as y'all heard me say years ago. But the rage didn't come till later. Because sometimes it can have a skipping process where the rage you would think you're fine and normal, all of a sudden you got problems with women. All of a sudden you got this resentment toward women. All of a sudden you got this vitriol or something like that, and you don't know where it's coming from, right? Because a woman is reminding you of something that you see that you were trying to get away from, and then it starts all over again. But I started breathing, I started imagining, I started seeing who was the ones that told me the truth all my life. Not the ones that were trying to impress women, not the ones, no, those are the people I looked at as like I need to separate myself from. Who told me, who did it work for? Who told me the truth? Did it work, what they were telling me? Did I listen? Was that my fault that they were telling me the truth and I didn't listen? Who could I confide in? And I start going to the very ones that told me the truth, the very ones that showed me the true love, the real love, not just telling you everything you want to hear. I start going through that. I started going through that stage of remembering, right? Who told me the truth? Could that truth have helped me years ago? But I didn't know because I was stuck in this fantasy. I was stuck in this computerized. So I was like, man. So could I even have known being in there? And the answer is possibly no, because we're programmed when we're in these stages of under that blue pill mindset, right? So I was like, okay, so I started playing it back. I started going back to talk to these very people who had my back, who told me the truth, but I couldn't realize it because I was stuck in a state of that blue pill stage, right? I was under that mindset. I was under that control of that blue pill. Everything was, it was imaginary. So I was stuck under that. So I was like, okay. So I went to the people. Well, how was I this? Why did you tell me this? And they would tell me, well, I was trying to let you know. I was trying to give you the game before that, and you know that word is bastardized now. But I was trying to give you the information back then, right? And so then you come to respect the very people that have given it to you, right? Who is that? Mark B, shout out to you if that's still you. If that's Matty Go, shout out to y'all too, man. Y'all drop some loads. And shout out to y'all, keep cash apping, thank you. But I started going through this stage, and I was like, okay, well, who told me the truth? Now I can speak to them now. Now that they waited till I came around to them, right? So the rage started coming down a little bit, right? And then I was like, the second thing I said, change the way you think. And when I was raging, I was comparing women to other women, comparing ethnicities to other ethnicities, big women to skinny women. I started comparing light to dark, and I started going through that stage where I'm going through comparisons. And I was like, yo, stop the comparisons. I started comparing women, started looking at the way she talked to me versus the way she talked to me. She could have been doing it for money. She could have not been doing it for money and showing her true self. And I stopped doing that because that was becoming confusing. I was like, hold up. I'm giving her money to be nice to me at a restaurant. I'm not giving her anything, and she's more callous. And so she's doing this just because of the buck. You start comparing waitresses. So I stopped it. I said, yo, change your thinking. Stop. Comparison is the killer of all men, right? That's my quote, but not in totality. Let me say that. And then I stop comparing. That was the second thing I've done. The first thing I did was started exercising, started running, started breathing, started practicing when I get upset what to do. Then and then I started going back to who told me the truth. Jules, what up? And then the second thing I did was change my mindset. I stopped comparing, because that right there is the biggest thing where I'm seeing with all dudes like me who rage. We always compare. So the second thing is stop comparing. I'm giving you solutions. The comparative nature of men in that red pill rage stage is not good. So I stopped comparing. I was like, yo, I'm not going to compare them to them, right? And it's the same thing that happened to me with passports, and we'll get into that in a second. Let me just talk about the red pill rage for now, right? In your country, right? And then I start comparing. And I was like, yo, cut the comparisons out. Then I started reading more. I was like, yo, let me read this, The Way of the Man, all of these different books, and let me read 48 Laws of Power, and I started, let me reconfigure my thinking. Let me learn how to use what I got to my advantage. And then I started doing that. And then I said, okay, well, let me start learning about finances. Since I'm not dating him anymore, I'm learning how to control my rage. So I started reading stuff on finances. And all of this stuff happened while I filled my mind up with knowledge. I changed my mind. I was like, yo, let me change my mind. That's why y'all saw me start reading Hume, Voltaire, Socrates, African philosophers, Mansa Musa, his story, and all of the list goes on and on and on. And I started picking up Asian content of all of these great emperors of China and stuff like that. And I start sharpening my mind. And I was like, what happened to them when they raged? They had all that power. They could have killed everybody in the court. Right? We see all of these empires, the Qing dynasties, all these dynasties. I was like, well, for them not killing everybody, how did they control their rage? You see what I'm saying? And it started working for me. And I was like, oh, snap. And it started subsiding. It truly started subsiding. Like just those two things, those two solutions I gave you worked for me. They worked for me. And then the third thing I said, yo, let me remove myself from everything that I've been looking at, everything that I've been watching, everything that I tackled my entertainment value. I tackled it because I was finding stuff that helped me continue to rage. Yeah, man, F them, F them, F them. And y'all see how strong-willed I am. Picture me raging and being being a street like fighter. On the streets, just would go at anybody. Skinny as I was, I just had this anger. I just wake up just ready to go at, yo, you side with women? I was just ready to go. Ready to go. And I was just feeding my soul with that. And so I said, you know what? Instead of me pushing this on my conscious, right? My subconscious. I told you how the subconscious work. We'll break that down after I explain all of this. But I said, yo, stop. And I changed the way I ingest entertainment. Feed your mind. I changed the way I ingested entertainment mentally. And I was like, oh, shoot, you got something. I was like, you got something. But before I can finish throughout all my stages, I'm just telling you those 3 solutions so far, right? We'll get into more. That's when the passport came. That's when I was introduced to travel. And I was like, what is this travel stuff? And I didn't finish the process. So I just let that go, right? And started delving into travel. I started, oh man, what about this passport stuff? And all of a sudden, when you start working on something, it goes like this. When I don't continue learning Portuguese, my Portuguese, when I start speaking, it goes like this. Ooh. And I was like, let me get into this travel. So unbeknown to me, I was like, and all of a sudden, the rage started doing this. Because you know how a cortisol works, but norepinephrine works on the opposite. That's there to soothe the cortisol. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, right? So I got my passport, I'm doing all that. I'm thinking I'm fine, right? Go see Leia. I went to go see Leia. Femininity through the freaking roof. Just the way she make you a meal, bring you a plate. You ain't had to give her nothing. Yo, that'll mess any man up who's going through rage still. A slight bit of rage, a full amount of rage. I don't care, half, I don't care. That'll mess any man up. So now I started using my passport rage. This before I started doing YouTube videos on passports. I started approaching the situations like, yo, forget all you American women. Now I'm coming back. I'm talking crazy to women. I'm like talking crazy to my friends' girlfriends, ready to get into it with, like, when we get into these discussions and I say, yo, leave it alone. Y'all ain't gonna like what I'm saying. And I just started, I just was